real truth is that it's a lot harder than they make it out to be. That's ultimately the thing is all these online gurus, it's like, oh, you throw up a website, you make a course, and then go ahead and put the down payment on the Lambo because it's coming. Like, remember all the way back in 2018 through 2021, high ticket courses were the thing. Everybody was selling a course that was $1,000 to $5,000. The knowledge for vast majority of those was not worth $2,000 to $5,000. It was a tutorial wrapped in some shiny guides. That was it. Look for those types of things because you're going to find a lot of marketers that are just 6 months ago, they were a crypto expert. Guess what? They are now an AI expert. It's laughable how many people are like AI experts and they're just copying one person's prompt from one to the other and like, look at what I did. It's awesome. It's like, no. Do you know how it works? Okay, good. Every client I deal with in my business, one of their prerequisites is, have you done the thing we're building your offer for in real life? Not read the books, not saw somebody do it. Have you done it? If you have not checked that box, we do not work with you. We are not doing whatever the flavor of the week is.
Every day, thousands of online courses get purchased and never finished. The industry's dirty secret. Completion rates are stuck in the single digits. Most people who buy a course never make it past module 2. My guest today made it his mission to fix that. And he's one of the only people in the entire industry who's actually qualified to do it. Josh Brown isn't just another internet marketer who stumbled into course creation. He's a real educator with a master's degree in education from Virginia Tech, over a decade in the classroom, 10,000 plus hours of instructional experience as a teacher and curriculum consultant. Then he burned out of the school system, as he calls a meat grinder, took his teaching chops online, and discovered an industry full of brilliant experts building terrible courses. Since then, he's led over $30 million in sales, consulted behind the scenes for brands including ClickFunnels, shaping their own course software, and he's earned the nickname the Expert Architect. His clients don't just get single-digit completion rates. They get 40% and up. Today, as the founder of Expert Ecosystem Studio and creator of the Bookend Build Framework, Josh helps seven-figure entrepreneurs escape what he calls the expert trap, where your own expertise becomes the ceiling on your business, and turn what you know into books, courses, and offers that scale without them. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to sharing some experiences and some tips along the way that your audience can use and share their knowledge with the world.
Very fair. I do have this one question, and I believe I touched on it, but I do want you to speak to it. What's a truth in your industry that people do not want to admit?
The real truth is that it's a lot harder than they make it out to be. That's ultimately the thing is all these online gurus, it's, oh, you throw up a website, you make a course, and then go ahead and put the down payment on the Lambo because it's coming. That's kind of the vibe with it, which my buddy and partner on some deals, Brian Delaney, and I might have made an ad poking fun at that. If you look around the internet and you see a dude with a fake Lambo in the background, might be ours. It's a joke. So that's really the big thing. And I think that also segues to the second piece with that is everybody's level of what they consider success is different. It's one of these things like, unless you're doing a 7-figure a year business, you're somehow not successful in the online space. And I've had people that have been doing really solid 6 figures, upper 6 figures. They are having the best time in life. They are set for life because they were really good with leveraging their income. And then they have a business that they absolutely love. They are active as much as they want, things like that. And I have run across people, because I've been in some masterminds that are like, to be in the room, you have to have made 7 figures. Mm-hmm. But these people are doing 8 figures a year and they utterly hate life. If you really boil it down, what your level of success and what your metric is for that, set your own, be logical with it, set a goalpost, but run your own race. That's the big thing.
Where did where did information come from that you have to be making 7 or 8 figures to be successful? Because as a small business owner, I'm not making any money, but I'm having the time of my life right now, enjoying it. And it's sustainable. Where did you need to be the greatest and making the most money come from?
I think it boils way back to the thing of you've made it if you're a millionaire. But then it's like, what's the qualification of a millionaire? Are you top line revenue making a million? Is it bottom line a million? Is it a million in assets? I think everybody should set a goalpost that is a stretch, that is something you strive for. It's like for me and my business, like that is a goalpost for us. That's the thing. Go for it because we're doing it our own way. But along the same lines, people in a different season of their lives and business and what they've accrued so far, they're like, their goalpost is different. And I think it just comes from that old thing of, oh, if you're a millionaire, you're rich. With current inflation, if you are, it's not as rich as you think you are.
Yeah, with inflation and everything, people don't understand that $1 million doesn't get you very far anymore, especially if you don't understand like financials or how to invest. You're basically at 100,000 as far as I'm concerned. But to your point that building a business around what you want was the goal of this channel, is to build something I can do in my time that supports me to be able to support just my life. It doesn't need to be fancy. Eventually, this is going to turn into a media company. I keep on promising my audience that. But at the moment, I'm just growing what I have as a podcast. So I do want to get a little bit into your background. Can you tell our audience why you decided to back away from the education system?
To tell the reason, I have to kind of step back a little bit. I've always had entrepreneurial things. I was from the generation of, I'm an elder millennial. I straddle the Gen X and millennial crowd because I was an 81 kid. It was what you get a college degree. And there was still a lot of that pervasive, get the good job, stick around for 30 years, they'll take care of you, all of that. And like I realized early on, it was like, if I don't like something, I'm out and I'll go find another one. I've always been that way. If something sucks, I'm out. And I bounced around more jobs and careers from graduating before I even had my master's to now. And I always looked at things as when it wasn't what I wanted, I moved on. I had set my own retirement stuff, everything else. I didn't care. So I have felt a calling to help other people. And for me, the other ways of serving the community relate for me. And I'm not teaching. I've always have been. And I realized that there was a massive need for technology education. It's actually in the United States, it's the lowest number of people getting into education, which is low anyways, are getting into what are called the career technical education areas. I could stand on an entire political soapbox, but let me just say it's the testing companies that set that up with how they did that. Everybody does the SAT and all of that. The funny thing is, out of the hundreds of kids I graduated, the most successful of them and that are making the most actually went to the trade schools afterwards.
Yeah.
I can't tell you one of them that's not making six figures. So I got then burned out because of all the political stuff with it, the lack of accountability of the parents and the kids and things like that. And I was sitting there in my car one day before I went into the school. I parked right behind my classroom. I was sitting there and I was staring at the steering wheel. I realized I'd been staring at 30 minutes, not wanting to go in the door. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. I'm being a menace to my own mind. I'm not showing up the way I should be for my family. I got to do something. So I did what everybody else does.
Most of the guests that come on this show came from the same place. Not cold outreach, not DMs, not begging people to come talk to me. And that's only grown truer as this channel has grown. I've been using Podmatch since I started podcasting. Not a recent partnership, not a one-off sponsor read. This platform has been finding my guests the entire time I've been building the show. And here's what it actually does. You tell it who you are, what your show needs. It matches you with guests that actually fit based on your topic, your audience, and what they bring to the table. No cold pitching. No chasing people who never respond. And the guest always wants to be there. I've talked directly with the CEO about why he built it this way, what he wants it to solve, the whole thing. That's not something you get from most platforms. This one's actually run by somebody who cares whether it works for the people using it. The guests I've gotten through Podmatch didn't just fill an episode. They shaped how I interview, how I think, how this show sounds versus when I started. That's the difference between a booking tool and a platform that actually makes you better at this. If you're podcasting and still doing guest outreach the hard way, stop. Go check out Podmatch. The link is below.
Anybody want to take a guess? Google. I went on Google and I started looking around. And I was like, and I started seeing all these online courses and I'm like, I've been an educator for a decade. I've written curriculums for the state of Virginia. I've all the way to PhD hours in it. So I bought a few of them and went, these have interesting knowledge, but at the structure, they suck. And I basically assessed it like I would any curriculum. And I went to several of these bigger people and went, if I can increase your completion rates, would you pay me? Because then they'd buy more of your upper ticket stuff. And they went, yeah. So I went to a popular guy at that time. He was doing 8 figures a year in sales. I gave him a couple of tweaks and all of a sudden his completion rates went up and he went, dude, you're onto something. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not a marketer, I'm an educator. So basically I had to learn the marketing side, not the education side. And that's when I kind of hockey sticked and working with bigger name people out of the gate, which is not common. You normally have to work your way up from, and I still work with newer intro people, but then also I'm working with major name companies and things like that. That's how I got going that quick, that fast. I made the, for everybody, when in doubt, always just keep fighting for it because somebody says yes.
Not only that, you took a spot in the market that I don't think people knew even existed before you even knew it existed. Yep. This is something that a lot of people I don't understand is you can just do things. There's nothing stopping you. If you have a good domain knowledge and an idea, run with it. Totally. Yeah, the worst thing you're going to get is a no. And if it's just go on to the next person. I feel like we don't deal with rejection very well.
No, most people don't. And I always tell people reframe it in your head this way. If they say no, they're saying no, not now. That's the big thing. Is it's no, not now. Because ultimately, if you can fix their problem and they say no, and they still say no later, that's their problem and they're going to still have it. And then you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's the big thing I tell people a lot. And I had a number of people that said no early on. One of them, he became a friend of mine, which is the funny part later on. I might give him grief about it on a regular basis, but I was new in the industry, didn't have a lot of the experience. And I had talked to him at an event, and then up later on, we ran a mastermind together. And I went to him, I was like, do you remember from whenever? And he was like, whatever. I was like, oh, damn. I'm sorry, man. See? And then end up, we're friends business a lot. So I tell people, it's never no, it's no, not for it.
Even that, if you reach out, just making the connection, this is a big thing I'm finding out in entrepreneurism is just making the connections to people and having that conversation gets you a lot further than not. Even if they say no, hey, what else can I help you with? What do you struggle with? Just give them tips, provide value. That's
true.
Yeah. What was the biggest problem that you found with most courses?
It really boils down to marketing is about frameworks and the craft of marketing. And it has very specific and methods to do it. And that's all in front of the paywall. People don't realize in front of the paywall, before somebody whips out their credit card and say yes, is a different modality than after transact and everything after the paywall. Both have to be treated slightly different. It's not a completely different thing, but it's slightly different. Because, for example, before the paywall, before the person raises their credit card and go, yep, take my money, that right there, you're basically having to build trust with them in you. And the motivation is, if you buy this, it will happen. Then, as soon as that paywall happens, then at that point, everything after that, it is why you need to do this to solve the thing you just paid for. And if you can motivate that person and convey that knowledge in a way that they get the result, because remember, virtually no one gets high success rates in their programs who don't do this, is they will buy more of your stuff, they'll become a champion of your brand, and then those are the people that you can grow. Because here's the thing, once they paid to be in your ecosystem, anytime somebody buys, upsells, gives you a referral, whatever, those are all basically free new customers. When you have that level of success with those people, then that's how you can champion the brand around you, and you go from just a product to a movement. And that's the big difference.
Before you come into a course and try and change it, what are some of the things that could kind of give our audience a little bit of a pre-warning before they go and buy courses? What do you see up front that they're not getting when they use their credit card to pay?
Right away, look at the testimonials they're putting on their sales. If it's in a biz op thing, are they only talking about how much money they made, not about the experience, not about things like that. You have to look at things, and you even email them and just say, hey, what's the completion rate of your program? What's the success rate? What's the implementation rate? Because outside anything, what we look at is the implementation rate. Because the thing is, this is one of the things, people will analyze all of their front end metrics before the credit card is their conversion rates, their CPMs, their click-through rates, their stick rate for the webinars, all these things. The minute they buy, they're like, we can track that. I'm like, yeah, literally what we do a lot of is my business literally split down the middle. Getting people in the door, and how can we get them to have success, A, first, and B, how can we escalate them into other things if they want to? So we look at the metrics on both sides. And that's one of the big things. Like when we're looking at learning management software, things like that, we want to look at those implementation rates. And that's part of the big thing with it. Like when you're looking at those, look at things like implementation rates. Look to see if that person who is selling that program actually has real world experience in it. That's one of the big things. And we're seeing this across the industry. For years, it was whoever had the flashiest with the most striped screenshots of how much money they made, or they've got umpty-ump gazillion followers, and people are over that, and they realize, I want to see actual real-world experience. So, for example, on our sales funnels now for us and our clients, is that we're putting the testimonials, had a great experience in here, made X amount of money, worked with Russell and Todd and all these people. You want to see all those things, but then it's also, I have a Master of Education. I have PhD hours in it. I've done this for decades. These are the types of clients I've worked with, because people want to see that now. It's almost like your funnel has to include a little bit of a resume to prove you're not some just schmuck hucking stuff on the internet. That's what I tell people a lot, is look for those types of things, because you're going to find a lot of marketers that are 6 months ago, they were a crypto expert. Guess what? They are now an AI expert. It's like, scroll through their social media, take a quick look. If you see them just bouncing trend to trend, probably don't want their stuff.
As an AI expert, I can tell you the majority of them out there are not experts.
Oh, yeah. It's laughable how many people are like AI experts and they're just copying one person's prompt from one to the other and like, look at what I did. It's awesome. It's like, do you know how it works? Okay, good. Let's move on then.
I'm running teams of agents daily. It does all of my marketing, all of my video editing, helps me create my music. I'm building applications on the side. Like, these are things I just do, but I don't sell to people for that stuff, because those are the things I'm just experimenting with. Like, my whole understanding of AI right now is it's still too new for the average user, and I am not equipped to train somebody how to do these things.
Yeah.
Although, quick side note for anybody listening, I am doing an episode soon enough where I teach people how to do this for another podcast, because that's what he requested, and I'm going to go take a stab at teaching for once. So back into the marketing, or like the coursework. What is the biggest flaw? Or you had said you were seeing things in the market right now that are untrustworthy, essentially. Yeah. I recently interviewed somebody who said that coaching programs are going out the door. Like, the coaching courses, those things are going out the door. What do you see in that industry right now? Like, what are people getting burnout from course overload?
I think people like to lump courses and coaching into the same bucket. And a lot of times in this space, coaching and consulting get lumped into buckets. And I think it's one of those things, people like to throw that around because they think AI is going to replace absolutely everything. And yes, it's replacing a lot of tedious things. And yes, we use AI a lot, like literally, except that I wanted to make sure nothing got bogged down here. Like, I've got Claude running pretty much constantly. I've got agents on my projects, my clients' projects, everything. And we use it a lot for particularly research or consolidating data and those types of things. And we use multiple different AI tools. We're using Claude, we use GPT for some things. We've got some specialty ones we use. And everybody thinks that now that's going to be the thing. When in reality, the funny thing is that everything happens on a pendulum. It's the hot thing right now. It's the hot, shiny thing, and it's going to come back. And we're not seeing any really downtrend of coaching or courses, things like that. They're just changing. Because I remember all the way back in 2018 through 2021, high ticket courses were the thing. Everybody was selling a course that was $1,000 to $5,000 because it was new and it was shiny. The thing was, it was inflated. Like, the knowledge for vast majority of those was not worth $2,000 to $5,000. Yeah. It was a tutorial wrapped in some shiny, like, guides. That was it. Just like now, you're seeing it more reasonable. You're coming around to it. Also, a lot of coaching was very inflated in prices because everybody's was. They're coming back being reasonable. And those that weren't those high ticket prices are getting what they deserve now out of it without the fluff of the other people. Because, like I said earlier, is that people are real experience, not just I've done some stuff online. Like every client I deal with in my business, one of their prerequisites is, have you done the thing we're building your offer for in real life? Not read the books, not saw somebody do it. Have you done it? If you have not checked that box, we do not work with you. We are not doing whatever the flavor of the week is. And mind you, some of the stuff they're doing, yeah, it might only have had a 2-year runway or 1-year runway, but have you actually applied it? That's one of the big things we look at. And people are, and we're seeing it's coaching's going away. It's like, no, crappy coaches are going away. Crappy consultants are going away. And the real ones that can actually provide true value are finally getting their time in the sunlight. And on top of it, a lot of the slightly older, more mature crowd that has literally between their an entire library of experience are starting to crush I have a little bit of experience, but I'm really good at marketing. That's why we're seeing even some coaches and consultants, and I'm sure people are going to flame the tar out of the comments here in a second, is be nice, everybody. It's an opinion. And don't take it out on the host. Is that even the simple is winning right now. You can have a simple funnel. This is who we work with. This is how we handle it. Here's the experience. Here's the list of the reasons why you should work with me and other people have worked with me. Let's chat. Literally, even those types of funnels are crushing it compared to everything else, and you're just not seeing it. Because even Forbes says it's still the industry is growing massively.
This is the problem. As things go more and more online, it's harder and harder to find out who's true and what to actually look for, especially with AI. You can be an expert in anything now without actually being an expert in those things.
Yep.
For the smaller people starting out, do you actually encourage them to start with just, hey, I want to get in front of you first, as opposed to just generic, here, go to my website and then buy my course?
It really depends. We're finding right now that in particular, because like you said earlier, so many people have gotten burned on courses and stuff like that. People want an appetizer of what you're capable of. And that's the reason why low ticket things are, and communities, memberships, and everything are absolutely crushing it right now. It's because for a very low, you can see if you, A, think that actually they fulfilled what they promised, and B, if you like their vibe. Because that's the thing, is that like you could literally have 4 people with the exact same thing they're doing, but the character and the business identity can be so different, they're going to attract different people. I'm going to attract a very different audience than my wife is, who also is a consultant and has an agency. We literally are going to attract very different people, because also not only that, the way we get to the result is different. We still get to a similar result. We just go about it in a different way. So I think that's a lot of it too, when people are looking at it, of really set the bar and have an identity around it, because people are generally attracted to similar people. Like for example, my clients, they're not going to want let's sit around and have a conversation about it. I'm like, dude, let's get some work done. If you're looking for warm and fuzzy, I'm not your guy. But am I going to be like, yeah, that sucks. Here, let's find a solution and let's get you moving? Yeah, it's how it is. And that's the thing everybody needs to realize. Competition is not a thing in this industry. There are people with complementary offers. There are people with different offers, but you could have a room full of people doing the same thing and all of them can be successful. The market share is just so big. Right now, according to Forbes, it's basically a $1 trillion industry. If you have 0.0001 of that market share, congratulations, go buy the Lambo. That's literally the deal.
You said something there about the people, the older generation having the knowledge, the expertise in the field. How do you get them to start building something with that knowledge?
With an older crowd, the thing is that's interesting is that I straddle the slightly older crowd that really didn't grow up with heavy computer usage, everybody had a computer. So it's interesting. I hit both. And if I really wanted to age myself, I could tell you guys what my first computer was. But the big thing I would say is even the threshold to create those marketing materials is now so low. If you could have made a PowerPoint presentation, you can have an online presence now. It just takes I'm going to sit down and I'm going to follow a path of what do I need to get this business off the ground? Look at similar people, literally just look at people in comparable industries or even the same thing, but they're a different likable character. What do they have? Oh, they got a link tree on social media. Okay, I need to pick a web development tool that tracks with me, and I watch some tutorials on it, or go ask Claude, how the heck do I do this? Go ahead and do it. And that's it. And the thing is, start with a minimum viable product. I can tell you right now, if you're like getting going in the space.
If you're a podcaster or a video creator, this is the all-in-one AI video editor you've been looking for. I've been using Async since day one, and it's amazing to watch it progress into a complete powerhouse for creators. Especially for people like me who, well, can't edit for shit. Async leverages AI to give you total control over your video. You can record, edit, generate clips, add subtitles, and even dub your content in over 15 languages. Plus, it lets you upscale your footage and easily repurpose your content for different platforms, all without ever having to switch between different tools. It's truly a game changer. So if you want to streamline your workflow and make your editing process painless, check out async.com today. The link is in the description below.
This is my version of how you can just get started with the simplest, leanest online presence possible. Okay. This is what I tell all my clients to do. First thing is, each one of your social profiles needs to be a basic of what the system looks like, which for some reason my camera decided to glitch out. So you guys got me on the I haven't seen Sun in 6 months version, but just keep listening, everybody. We'll be good.
This is why we're not live.
Exactly. I tell people all the time is the biggest thing is take your social media and switch it over to having a personal brand on that page. Okay. That's the first thing. So have a headline, what solve, what's the biggest thing that you're going to do for them, and a call to action. Mm-hmm. Have it in your headline. Have a banner on the top of your page. Then literally from that top of that page, send them to a book a call funnel. Lands on the page. This is what I solve. This is how I solve it, because all funnels are in 3 orders. Emotional. This is what I do. These are the pains I'll solve for you. Analytical. This is how we do it. At the bottom of the page, book a call. I only do this many spots. And then a thank you page after they book. You could literally start your coaching consulting business with that. Literally.
It's I'm not even near.
Viable product. It's the minimum viable product. Then, when you start going, I want to get a little more complicated with it. I tell people, particularly early on, skip you can do a lead magnet, but you want something that's super basic, like a checklist or something like that. I tell people, do a simple paid product, $17, $7 to $17, something like that. That same thing, after the person buys, invite them to a call. Something that in 1 hour or less, they can go through your program, learn about you as the expert, get a result that's very top of mind for them, and then at the end of the course, offer to hop on a call with them, and as soon as they buy, offer it. Same thing. You'll be able to get them through into it. And that's when you start getting into things like, oh, if you do have a low ticket offer, you can start running paid traffic. Stuff like that. So that's what I'm telling people. Just look at the minimum steps you need to get them done, and then just start posting consistently on social media. Because here's the other thing with it. Remember, we had that moment of everybody and their brothers using AI. Want to take a weird guess on what the highest performing social media content I do is?
AI.
Dead opposite for me. Holding my phone. I've got the high-end camera right here, which decided earlier that it was going to take a nap, even though it's like paid a lot for you. Work. Teleprompters, everything. Yep. I take my phone out, clip the little thingy on, and do them like this. All of a sudden, they perform better. So it's like you can literally do all of them. The only thing people care about the most out of anything is the audio quality. People really care about audio quality. And this is part of, I made a course called Look Like $1 Million for $100, actually, is one of my low ticket offers. $45 on Amazon. Plug in the little mic on the bottom of your camera, on the bottom of your phone, record it. This whole thing, I practice what I preach. This is not a $500 Shure microphone. This is the $45 one from Amazon. Things like that. The rest of it's all fancy schmancy Mac Minis, and I love Pro Maxes because I have a giant head and they fit. But that's why I tell people, start with the minimum things. You can start with your phone, one of these nice microphones. Your phone, by the way, can act as a 4K webcam. Most people don't realize that. You literally can do that and just offer simple solutions with a micro commitment in pricing. If you're worried about that, do it as an opt-in first and then start charging for it. Have a calendar booking on your site. So if people want to get with you, ask them no more than 4 questions when you're first starting. What's the biggest thing that you're trying to solve? What have you tried before? How quick do you want to do it? Hey, book a call. Invite them to 25 minutes. It's like that simple, literally. That's minimum viable product.
Man,
I get amped up about
no worries, because even just speaking with you, I'm realizing I'm not doing a whole host of those things, which is probably why I'm sitting in the period of where I've got this audience, but it doesn't grow, it doesn't move, it doesn't engage. But now I'm realizing why.
Yeah.
The one question that I saw as I was doing some research into you is that people go and make these courses, but then they use the majority of their time for creation. How do you step back from being the person who has to do everything?
Okay, I'm going to use an example actually from Dan Martell. He has a great book called Buy My Time Back, or Buy Your Time Back, or something along that lines, Dan Martell. And I don't agree with everything in this book, but I do agree with the 4 quadrants of things you love to do that are high revenue generating, things that you like to do but are low generating, and look at the quadrants of the things that you like doing and what you don't. The other thing is you have to, at some point in your journey, decide, is this just going to be my business, or do I want this to be a sellable business? Because that's it. Like, for example, that's one of the shifts we did I started with a personal brand, and we've shifted this more to a studio of a business with sub-entities and our frameworks that would make it sellable if we felt like it. We don't have any intent on doing it, but that's where things like EBITDA and stuff like that come in. Of like going, okay, do I want to be the face of the business, or I want to be the business, be the face of the business, and I'm just a representative of it? It's a big difference. I'm the business, or the business of the business, and I'm a representative of the business. And it's all about positioning and how you do it. So I always look at the things like, the first things you want to take off your plate are the low cost things that don't generate a large amount, that are basically costing you time and money. Things like you can outsource social posts, things like that, or have them automated with a tool. I tell everybody your first hire should be an executive assistant who can help you with social, help you with your calendar, and the basic stuff. Basically a jack of all trades. They don't have to be the world's best at it, but they're in most of them. That's really your first hire. Then start looking at the things that are easy to outsource that generate the most revenue. For example, if you start having a consistent lead flow for a high ticket offer, one of the first things you can do, and everybody cringes at this, but it's like, because the cost is high, is get a sales team. There are so many really good sales teams. Like, for example, I'm friends with several people that have different styles of sales teams. And that's one of the easiest ones, because that's a process. You can become an expert in selling an offer in a matter of a couple of hours. That then is a process, and it's a very time heavy process. And honestly, you want the person who is a hunter at heart doing that. And if that's not something you live and breathe as sales, that's something you're going to want to outsource. Early on, you're wearing all those hats. You are the owner, employee of the month, and head janitor all in one. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you can start outsourcing those, or at least finding part-time people or freelancers, that's one of the big things with it that I tell people live. Look for the things you can outsource or freelance, and then particularly plan far enough ahead that you can batch them. So for example, if building sales funnels and the graphics go with them and things like that are not your bag, like talk to your network of people or post at several places and go, hey, I need some sales funnels built. I have a decent but I budget on it. Who do you recommend? And then go to 3 or 4 of them, say, hey, I want these funnels built. Can you give me a batch rate of these? Or could I pre-record a month's worth of content to a video editor, and then you can chop them all up at once, and I just pay you instead of one at a time. I can pay you for a month. And that's what we do. That's what we do a lot of.
To that point, for my audience out there, I do have somebody who reached out and is willing to do this for me. We're about to have an assistant come in and do my socials and chop up my videos a little bit to make this a little bit better for everybody, because
There you go.
running on every hat. I do everything. AI picks up a lot of the slack, but I know I am bad at this. And I apologize to everybody out there, but I think that's one of the reasons why I have an audience, is because I'm just so honest with them. I tell them my failures up front. The question I do have, though, is with the emergence of AI, should people be going and hiring people to do it, or going and getting AI to do it?
I think AI is taking the place of a lot of the repetitive, monotonous task. I don't think for the average person, in the amount of time it would be to spin up the agents and set the safety protocols and everything else, it's still within their grasp, and this cost offsets. Even massive companies are starting to find this out. The ones that are like fired a whole bunch of people and gave all these people virtually unlimited token access. They're like, crap, this is costing us more than actually having flesh and blood sitting in seats and paying benefits. Oops. Several companies figured that out real quick. I'd say the one company that did it extremely well, and they didn't do massive rounds of layoffs or anything, was ClickFunnels. They are so AI focused right now, and they're using it in such an amazing way in the way they onboarded it. In fact, look up Todd Dickerson's interview on how they incorporated it. It was fascinating. Todd's awesome, by the way. He's most gifted, and him and Andrew Culver, they're the president. I think it's because the thing is, I think with AI right now is, okay, somebody needs to make social posts, but they're not really super exceptional with AI yet. Is that then they have to learn AI first to then do the thing, and then there's the trial and error of getting it right. And there are some native tools that can help with it to get pretty good. I've seen Marbleism's one that's popped up for a bit that does social posts and stuff. And then there's all these ones. And the problem is that also then starts stacking. Mm-hmm. You got 50 to 100 bucks over here. You got another 25, 50 bucks over here. All of a sudden you got $1,000 a month bill on AI that you're then still having to do the work on.
I often forget that I am a power user with AI, and that I use it in ways that people can't even imagine right now. That's one of the reasons people are getting all of these tools out here. And I actually just did an interview with somebody who has an AI agent where you go and you just give them all your stuff and it goes and does things. And his tool, for what I understand of it, is pretty decent. I'm not bashing the tool, but what I'm saying is understanding how AI works gives me the understanding, oh, this tool is bad or this tool is good. I can now understand how I can talk through with their tool to figure out what it does. And then from there, I know what things do. But a lot of people don't have that. And AI world right now is take advantage of everybody. One of the reasons I
throw any slop out there you can that's vibe coded, whatever, and all of a sudden it's the greatest thing in the world.
Being a software engineer, I understand the ease of it, but doing it properly is one of the reasons I do this. Is I just want things to be done properly. I will not bring on anybody or do anything that I do not believe in. These are the caveats to my channel. I'm a very, very morally bound person, and if I do anything to wrong somebody, it hurts me. Yep. Do you see that becoming a factor when building businesses in the future? Having that moral backbone?
Oh yeah, I think morals play a lot in business. Like, I'm a faith-driven man. I was both on the combination of morals from that and from my parents and all of those things. And I think a lot of it is just having in your business, having hard and fast non-negotiables. Like for me, one of my non-negotiables is you have to have been an expert in actually what you do for us to build a product. I don't care how much money you want to pay us and things like that. And we look at it as, if we find somebody is promoting in a way we don't find that works, we're not going to work with them. And I've been part of masterminds where the person, it may not be illegal or anything like that, but it's just not within my morals. So we chose not to even approach that person. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, when you start getting to like the higher level masterminds, they're actually way more, because they're not in that scarcity mindset anymore. There's way less of it. It's kind of the middle ground where people are like, have that scarcity mindset of they'll pretty much try anything just to get there. I think that's really part of it. And AI definitely is highlighting moral compass, because you're going to find a lot of the people out there are just going, I made this, everything else is like, well, did you make it or did you just drop something in ChatGPT or Claude, one of those things. And also it's like people are over committing to what their products will do. Like when I'm working with my clients, one of the services we do is we actually help them create some of the agents and things so that they can then use them on their own. So we provide some training with it and how to bundle those things with Claude Cowork and Obsidian and a few things like that, which are not a massive lift on doing it. It's just then knowing how to do it and setting the parameters and things. It's like, because we consider it an ethical way of like, we're teaching them to fish, not just giving them a fish. And that's one of the things, at least on our end. But the big thing is just really just having those non-negotiables. I tell people a lot, and they're unwavering.
Here's something I don't say out loud much. I forget half of what is said in a conversation while I'm still having it. And this is Plod. I backed it back when it was still a Kickstarter. So I've been using this thing since before most people even heard of it. It records all of my meetings, my calls, whatever, and turns it into a clean summary with decisions and action items already pulled out. And it's not just the card. They also have a wristwatch/necklace version that I can wear, clip it, or drop it on a table, hands-free, while I'm still looking at the person instead of my notebooks. The best part, I own the notes, I'm present in the room, and the summary is done before I even leave it. I've been on this since day one for a reason. If your brain leads conversations like mine does, the link's down below. This thing I actually use every day. What do you say to the people who are scared of posting on social media for the backlash?
I will say I even am a victim of this, of worried a little bit and stuff like that occasionally. But ultimately here in the day that I tell people a lot, and this is the reason why I say an executive assistant is your first line of defense, because they're the ones that will filter the meanie people in your comments or sending you completely inappropriate things or whatever, is I tell people, first of all, you can limit a lot of that by focusing your content. Even you still have to have things like at the beginning of your social post, things like that. You have to. Like, what drives me nuts is these people are just like, have you looked at a reel at all? Hi, my name is Joe Smith, and I'm going to show you how to do this. And like, that's their reel. And I'm like, that won't work, bro. That will not work. But like, really the big thing I tell people is, who cares about that person's opinion? Mm-hmm. They're not your family. They're not a friend.
Just some random.
They're probably somebody. They're probably sitting there in the bathroom, unhappy with themselves, and they're venting to other people. And that's the reason why my most common comment when I see one of those is I'll message them like, "Who hurt you, bro?" Mm-hmm. Like something like that, and they just don't know how to reply, and they're like, "Ugh." Or I'll message that and say, "That's your opinion. Mine differed," mm-hmm. And I just approach it that way, like I would if somebody said something confrontational to me in public, and that's the reason why a lot of times I focus on educational stuff. Because if you want to build up your armor really quick, run ads. Like the comments on ads are wild.
Honestly, just throw out some AI video out there and people will roast you alive. So this is one of the things that I get roasted on all of the time. I write the lyrics to my music. That is the one non-negotiable for me. I'm the one making sure it sounds exactly what's in my head, because the point of my music is to just get it out of my head. It's not for you. It's not for anybody else. It's just to get it out of my head. AI has done that. And that's the one thing I get roasted on all the time. Oh, you threw it and pressed a button and it out came this great song. And I'm like, no. Yeah. I spent time writing those lyrics. I sat there and I tuned the song so it sounds exactly what's in my head. But you post any content in there, you're instantly going to get for AI.
Oh, yeah. And particularly when you run ads, that's the thing that's so funny to me. Is like, I had people like, "You're just another scammer online," all this. I'm like, click my website. Like, I'm talking about how to have great, like, instructional content for coaching, consulting, and courses. I'm an actual teacher, bro. Like, I'm not like some marketer who just decided to do this. Or the one I'll get is, "Get off my timeline. All you people trying to sell stuff." I'm like, if we weren't paying Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook and Instagram would not exist. Say thank you, because I've paid Mark a lot of I'm gonna say the last trip he did, I helped pay for his yacht. That's like the thing, like people are just like so oblivious to these things of like, they wouldn't say that crap to a Pepsi ad during the Super Bowl, but like somebody for a second and a half, they took time out of their day to make the comment and do all these things. And it's like, that's the reason why I do like some of the people, particularly do the political commentary stuff that just roast these people. Like I do love those when they're like super angsty about it. I love those. That's my favorite thing. I'm like, you said what I wanted to say, but I'm too nice. I love that.
Being an elder millennial and myself being a millennial, we grew up on the internet when it was a different time. There was a lot more civility, I would say, and people were willing to actually look things up. This is one thing I want to let the audience know. The traffic and the hate and the outrage is manufactured. It is not human in any way, shape, or form. And this is why when I started, it was a pain. I had never done socials before because I was a ghost. I like to stay anonymous. I like to do things on my own. But when I got into it, the hate was a big factor of, I have to get over this. But just understanding that the majority of it is manufactured, it's not real. And the algorithms are set up for hate. That is their goal. They want to drive hate. Once you understand, it's a boon. It is a privilege to be hated because if you're hated, you're known. The apathetic.
Yep. I have some friends that do that all the time. They purposefully will flame the comments just to get people to start commenting. Because here's the thing, the algorithm is based on this. They want to keep you on the platform as long as possible so they can show as many ads as possible so they can make as much money as possible. That is it. That is the entire social media game. And we were about this at a group I'm part of a men's personal development brand. And I do all the tech for them. And we were talking about this around at one of the events. And I said, the big problem with social media and people doing all these things is when we were growing up, if you wanted to say something mean to somebody and make sure they saw it, you had to walk up to them and say it or know their phone number to them, and then they still knew who it was. And there was a distinct possibility you could get punched in the face.
Yep.
With anonymity, people all of a sudden take whatever just bounced in their head for 2.5 seconds and put it to their fingers, and then they're keyboard warriors. And ultimately, the thing is, I tell people a lot, particularly if you're in the online coaching, consulting, agency space, anything like that, those people dropping that opinion are never somebody you should even give a fig about, because ultimately at the end of the day, they're never going to be a client, they're never going to be a brand champion, and they're probably still going to be living in their parents' basement. Because if their mind is that problematic, they're not going to contribute in any way possible. That's why I tell people all the time, if you're worried about it, first of all, hire an assistant as quick as you can. And then anybody who does that, block. Mm-hmm. Like that's the favorite key I have in Facebook and Instagram, a block. I don't care about the reach of the flaming comments and all of that or whatever, or I stick my friends on them. That's also the fun one. I'll be like, hey, whoever, and I'll tag a few of my friends. What do you think? And they annihilate them, and then they're trolls. So it's hilarious. But I would never do that. No, that's totally theory. Don't do that, everybody. It's against Instagram or Facebook's terms of service.
I can't say anything. I'm a reformed troll. So.
Oh yeah, I might have those. I'm the GIF king. I troll with GIFs exclusively. But yeah, that's what I tell people a lot of is like that. And that was the big thing. And when the internet started coming about, just to tell you my age, I actually had a Facebook account all the way back when you could only get it at certain colleges and universities. My college was one of the first ones that had it. So I had it all the way back then, like early on. It was Wild West, but people weren't as cavalier. Like marketing on the internet was Wild West. You could put anything on the internet and get away with it. You could sell anything. And also before the Google slaps, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. But then people started getting into the trolling and all of those things. And that's when it became real problematic. It still is. But I think ultimately the thing as I tell people is anybody who's giving you hate or whatever in those comments, first of all, you can block them really easily. If it's something super hateful, report them to the organizations. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they're never going to do business with you. They're never going to be successful or be able to do anything until they fix that. And bump them.
Fair enough. I do want to touch on the personal branding thing. Where do you see the importance of branding right now? Because I'm worried we're getting away from social media, which is going to cause a lot of finding problems?
Now, the thing is that ultimately personal brand is you being a thought leader. Some people have a personal brand that they sell their stuff from, and I do that to an extent. But along the same lines, then you can still be a thought leader who owns and personal brands, I still think to this day are one of the biggest superpowers you can have. Because really, if you look at even the biggest, most successful entrepreneurs in the game that have massive, powerful companies, they still take time to build their personal brand. Look at Tony Robbins. He has a massive personal brand on top of his coaching and his events. Mm-hmm. Look at Russell Brunson. He literally does offers. He's an offer development guy that he doesn't necessarily have to be the face of, built a personal brand. All these people have a personal brand and then the company they lead. And I think that's one of the big things is still building a personal brand and social media behind it, but having a distinction between the company you run and you is important. They can overlap and interweave, but still at the end of the day, having that business as a business that you're leading is an important way of doing that, particularly if you want to be able to exit that brand later.
That's fair. Although I don't even think I know what Tony Robinson's brands are aside from him. But yeah, like he gets around enough that his personal brand is so big that you don't need to know his businesses unless you're dealing with his businesses. Do you see branding becoming a harder thing to do in the future?
No, I don't think so, because really the thing is branding is just saying what you do and how do you solve it and why are you different. That's it. That's all branding really is. And then the colors and identity that go with it. Because the ultimate thing is like how the brand is voiced and the colors that go with it and the icon identity and fonts and things will attract or repel certain people. Like, for example, for a long time, my brand colors were black and stuff like that. It was a little ominous. I decided to switch it up because I realized that as I'm sitting here wearing a black t-shirt, wearing a black fishing shirt, but I realized that attracts kind of a more ominous crowd. So brand, a lot of it is brand theory, looking at the color palettes you choose, looking at how the offer is voiced, what identity of those people you want to attract. They're going to be a bit different. Mm-hmm. So I always tell people, when in doubt, go with something simple, go with simple colors, black, white, blue, things like that, because they're more on the neutral side. But a lot of people don't even take the time to really go into like color theory and things like that when building their brands. And then that's what will attract or repel certain people literally off of an initial, particularly the personal or company brand. You have about 2 to 3 seconds for them to decide about it before they've even read anything. Mm-hmm. So you really have to think a little bit deeper on it.
Shout out to my branding guy, middle name. Wow. Is it middle name branding? Kyle's great. He did all my branding and I thank him for this because my starting out as the Weird Canadian was hard. Developing a brand is hard for anybody who's thinking about doing that. Mm-hmm. So that's something I do suggest. If you're serious about this, go find somebody to build out something that's nice for you. So we're coming up to the end here. I just want to ask one question. You work with your wife as a business partner. How hard is that on a day-to-day basis?
Funny thing is, we actually are not business partners. We both own agencies. And she has a business partner that they do work, but their avatar is completely different than mine. And so it's really funny because it ends up being like an entrepreneur enclave of stuff which is actually really, I'm going to totally poke fun at her if it's okay with you for a second. When I was exiting the career area, when I get into something, I'm one of those people, I'm researching about it, I'm looking all this stuff up, I'm buying the books, I'm doing all the things, I'm watching YouTube videos. And she initially, when I was sitting there, she was like, for the love of God, I don't want to hear about a funnel, tripwire, or an OTO. I don't even know what those are. Can you please stop? And I'm like, okay. So then I would talk on the ClickFunnels Facebook group and stuff. And I had bootstrapped my way of getting out there. I'd acquired a couple of clients, just sheer grit and determination. I landed some clients so I could exit the school, which the faith piece comes in. The big did the right decision. After a decade in teaching, winning awards, doing it, I got an email back that said, when I said, I aspire to do this and the other thing, no hard feelings, all of that, I got to send this back. Thanks for letting me know. Paperwork will be sent to you. That was it. I'm like, got it. Appreciate it. And then I saw this crazy dude jumping around on the internet about this crazy entrepreneur event that was going to be going on in Nashville, Tennessee, and all this other stuff. It was Russell Brunson. And I went to this event. I got fired up at it, and I started seeing what she could do and what I could do. And I actually made my first highest ticket sale at the event, which was like further, as I literally bootstrapped it. I brought my own food and walked there each way, all of that. And at the event, I told my wife, I'm like, I want you to come next time, even if it's just to see what I do. And she was like, fine. Is it a swanky hotel? I'm like, yes. She's like, fine. I come back. That was February of 2020. What immediately happened?
COVID.
The world shut down. COVID was happening at the event I was at. And I flew back and the world shut down. And I just went to her. I was like, hey, what if you took this? Because she was a counselor. I said, hey, the reason why this story's here, hang with me, everybody. I know it's a little bit of a long-winded story, but it shows you just taking your knowledge from what you do in your job and bringing it over. I said, what you're doing, most parents don't have access to. Why don't you do coaching for teens with their parents? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, let's just do a quick book a calendar and post in the moms group locally. She sold her first high ticket in less than 12 hours. And she was like, wait a second. And then she read all the books, and then she came with me to the next FHL. We joined Russell's Mastermind, all within 18 months. Because I tell people, and the reason I love that story now, she has an agency with a business partner. She absolutely loves their traveling all over doing stuff. And don't ever let anybody take and just say, oh, your knowledge isn't transferable, whatever. It's always available online if you're willing to make the jump, just like she did.
I think people don't understand that a lot, is your expertise grows over time, and that whatever you're doing, you have base level skills that are transferable across the board. You just have to figure out what they are and then run with them.
Yeah.
That is a big portion of it.
What's basic to you is a superpower to others. That's what I tell people all the time. What's basic to you is a superpower to others. That's it. Like right now, what you were talking about with AI, other people right now, that's voodoo and witchcraft. They're like an agent, computers talking to each other.
Oh, my agents run my entire computer. I don't even use the keyboard anymore. I'm just pure voice now. I don't.
Oh, Whisperflow is amazing. Yeah. That's why I love Whisper.
If Whisperflow ever wants to affiliate, I'm a big purveyor of that. I love this tool because it gives you so much power over your entire computer as opposed to typing, And as a software engineer, I was a slow typer, which is counterintuitive to that program, but I did my work and I was the slowest typer at my job, but I was still one of the better programmers. It goes to show you how much code actually gets built when you're coding. But yeah, I think most people don't understand what they can do, and just giving it a little bit more time and understanding of what they've done over their career will give them a big boon in the future. So we're coming up to the 100%. End here. I just want you to plug your book and anything else that you want to leave the audience on.
Hey, yeah, if you are interested in knowing some of our frameworks, like our Bookend Build, which in less than an hour will take your knowledge and transfer it into an offer at 3 or more price points, including your low tickets, your lead magnets, all of that. I consolidate in a book called the Course Selling Playbook, which is over my shoulder if you're watching the video stream. And you can get a copy of that just by going to jkbrownofficial.com. It's the same as my every social media platform I'm on. And you can check that out.
Perfect. I'll make sure everything's in the description down below for the audience. To everybody out there, thank you for listening. Please reach out if you need anything. I love talking to people. Case in point, doing this show. This is one of the things I've learned coming out just to my audience, to give them a little bit more context. After leaving social media, after leaving the government and being a software engineer, I have learned that I like to talk to people, which is completely the opposite of what a software engineer does. So please reach out if you want to talk. Love to talk. And to everybody out there, thank you for listening, and stay weird.